Hey guys, Trevor here. Real quick, just wanted to take a moment to thank you guys for clicking on today's episode, but also give you a little bit of heads up of some technical difficulties that we ran into on this episode. This is a very special episode. We brought our first guest on, Lex Babb. We had an interesting conversation with her. It's a pretty long podcast, so I hope you stick around for the whole thing because there's a lot of things to pick and take away from this podcast. But as I said, the technical difficulties, we wanted to have this in video format, but we didn't have the necessary requirements in order to have her video through the Zoom call and as well as record ours, but we will in the future. I promise when we bring up more guests on, we'll be able to have it in video format. So my apologies for that, but also we had some audio difficulties trying to figure out how to record her audio and ours efficiently. So my voice in the beginning around like the first 10 minutes is really quiet. So my apologies for that, but we do fix it as the episode goes on. So about like 10 minutes in, my voice gets louder and clearer. So my apologies for that, but without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. All right, we're live now.
Awesome.
What's up? It's
just chilling.
It's nice to finally meet you. I mean, we've talked in the DMs for a while.
Yeah.
I honestly don't even remember. Like, he asked me, he was like, "Oh, how'd you meet her?" And I was like, "I met her like through Instagram, but I don't even remember like originally like how I came across your profile." I think it was like the first time I discovered like calories or something like that. And then I think you maybe popped up on the explore page or something. Or I like searched a hashtag or something like that.
Yeah, and a lot of people find me through like Jordan Syatt stuff because I think our like SEO is just like overlaps because we talk about the same exact stuff.
Yeah, I love him. I literally love him.
Yeah. He's my favorite person in the whole world.
I listen to like so many of like those like type of people like Jason Phillips, Jordan Syatt. Like I listen to like Mind Pump. Mind Pump's awesome. I love Mind Pump. That's like originally like Mind Pump is like what made me want to even start a like fitness podcast because I'm like as like new as I am to like podcasting and stuff like that. It's not like 100% new to me. I had 2 podcasts before this. I did one with like a couple of my buddies. We used to work on a boat and we made one. It was called the Semen Talk podcast. It was like just like it was just like a comedy thing. It was actually like hilarious. Like it was like 6 of us and we just like talked about like random stuff that we came across, like current events and stuff. But we all worked on the same boat, so it was like I don't know, it's just good banter. And then the next one was like I was trying to be like Andy Frisella and that didn't work. So I was like, why am I even trying to be someone I'm not?
Yeah, no, I love the bantering podcasts though. Those are the most entertaining, like just to hear how people interact and stuff. But yeah, I'm having Jordan's coming on my podcast in April.
Oh, that's amazing. That's awesome.
That's awesome. So if you have anything you want me to ask him or whatever, let me know. So I'm excited. I'm very nervous.
Yeah, I would be too. But like, he's like, are you part of Inner Circle and stuff or?
No.
Okay, so like I'm sure you listen to his podcast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he always brings on people and they're like, "Oh, I'm so nervous" and all that stuff, but he's like so like casual. He's just a dude, like
he's a dude. He's a normal human being and like he's just like the same as me, right? He's just a trainer.
Yeah.
He just has a big following. Like that's all.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how he has like a big following because he's like he even says himself, he's like, I'm not special. Like I just like it's wild. And he grew his Instagram through literally just posting tweets, like doing the Twitter tweet posts. And like you scroll back in his feed, that's all his Instagram is. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, but I think he's a fresh of breath, like just fresh point of view, like not wanting to do the BS, right? And the gimmicky stuff. Like he's one of the first online trainers that was like, no, that's bullshit. Or like, no, this actually works.
Oh,
yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And he has like a background in like powerlifting and everything too. So
yeah,
he's a strong dude. Wouldn't he like deadlift like 3 times his body weight or something? 4 times or something?
Yeah, 4 times. So he's in like the top percentile for like lifters. For at least the deadlift. I don't know about his other lifts.
I think it's for like body weight and stuff like that. Because what is he? He's like a 150-pound dude.
Oh, so he's not that big of a dude.
No, not at all. Damn. He's like 150 pounds.
He's short too.
Yeah, he's like short. He's like your height, shorter maybe. I don't know.
But he did just lose weight for competition, so he's even smaller now.
Yeah, he lost like 13 pounds or something like that.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. Great dude though. But yeah, for the listeners, welcome to another episode of the Fitness Over Everything podcast. Today's a special episode because we have a first guest on.
Yeah, she's our first guest.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. This is history in the making.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
History in the making.
If you want to go ahead and like introduce yourself and stuff and give a little background for the listeners.
Yes, my name is Alexis. I'm on social media as Calorie Deficit, podcast too, Calorie Deficit University. I'm
name, by
right
the way.
now. Thanks. Gotta trademark that early. I am a trainer. I own my own coaching company online, and then I'm also an in-person trainer at a strength training gym. So I do personal training, barbell group classes, and things like that. So that's it. That's all I am.
Hey, but keep it simple. I mean, that's still the best way to do it. Did you get into like personal training? Like, how did you get into that?
Yeah, great question. I actually have been a coach for a very, very, very long time. I was a competitive swimmer for my entire life. So since I could literally tread water, my mom had us in swim lessons and swim team. So I'd been swimming since I was 4. And then in high school, kind of started to back off because I realized I wasn't good enough like for the Olympics, and I knew I didn't want to swim for college. And so I started still on swim team, but I was coaching swim team and just helping kids that did want to swim for college, and stuff like that. So I do private lessons. I was a lifeguard, head lifeguard, the whole shebang, and then went to college and I really got into strength training. And I got a personal trainer myself, and she taught me so much. And that kind of was history from there. I was like, this is what I want to do. I love athletes. I love training, and like I like waking up in the morning and helping people move their bodies in new ways, pretty much.
That's awesome.
That's
cool.
cool.
I didn't know any of that, so it's good. Yeah, for the listeners, like this is basically like me. Like this episode is just like getting to know each other because we've been talking, like I said, like through the DMs and stuff, but we don't actually like communicate very often. But that's cool. I
haven't told anyone that. Like I don't talk about that past online. Like. So
yeah, I know. That's why I would never have guessed you were a swimmer. That's crazy. So that was like your first introduction, I'm assuming, to like exercising and stuff like that, was joining the swim team. Is there any other sports that you did?
For fun, I would do like volleyball, just to be well-rounded, but I was in the pool like 3 hours a day or more.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was
That's
very
crazy.
serious.
Wow.
Like it was my life for a very long time.
So did you always like know, like once you hit that point where you hired like your own personal trainer and stuff like that, and you did it like the right way? I did it like the complete opposite. I was like, I'm gonna figure this shit out myself. But
which I did too. Like
yeah.
I did teach myself for sure, but I sought her out just to like make sure I wouldn't hurt myself, because I had strength trained throughout like swimming, but you're not really getting under a barbell. Like you're not doing squats and stuff like that. Like you have land days, but it's not really like it's not like Mark Ripto, like starting strength. It's nothing like that.
Yeah, I wish I like got a coach or something like that at the beginning of my like introduction, because I played football, so I was like obviously like strength training and stuff, but like the coaches like weren't like big into that. Like I think about it now and I'm like, dang, my coaches sucked. But like, because like if I was a football coach, I know damn well I would push strength training like overall, like everything, like, and teach the kids about nutrition and stuff like that. So when did you like start getting into the nutrition side of things?
After I went to college, I really became more immobile than ever before, like because I was in class and then I was studying and like not swimming 3 hours a day. With you, I gained like 40 pounds. And so I did the strength training with my personal trainer and I was like, wow, I love strength training. But she was not really great at helping me with nutrition. And I kind of realized I was like, something's not adding up. I'm putting in all this work in the gym. And like, I never focused on nutrition before because I could eat whatever I wanted. And then now realizing like, okay, I have to pay attention to what I'm eating. And so basically her inability, I guess, to coach me, I just started coaching myself and doing research. And I I don't know. I'd always been like a yellow foods kid, and I knew that I needed to eat better. Like, it's just, I think like we all know deep down that we need to eat better.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
but
That's really
but
true.
it's like we choose not to. And so it's like at the end of the day, most of us know, like, sure, there are some gimmicky things of like, all right, like keto's bullshit and like, some things like that. But it's like, okay, yeah, I know I need to eat more vegetables and fruit. Duh. Like, I just, yeah. And so you got to suck it up, be an adult, do it.
Yeah.
And just,
What was like the first time you like started like quote unquote like dieting?
probably when I got engaged. Yeah, that was the big thing. I was like, well, I'm getting married. I'm all my friends from high school are going to be like, what the fuck happened to her? So I need to at least look like my high school self. So that pretty much was the trigger. And then it's been just like that ever since. Like now it's like, it becomes your routine where you're like, oh man, like I feel like shit if I don't eat like healthy.
Yeah.
Do you have more of a like a trouble like eating enough, or is it like you're eating like controlling like eating too much, like overeating?
I probably still eat too much. I don't struggle with overeating necessarily, but now that I train online and in person, my schedule's nuts. So I'm up at the butt crack of dawn every day, and like I go to bed very late. So it's like eating, I just eat when I can pretty much now, but just meal prepping is pretty much the only way to avoid that, I think. I think for me, I tend to go through periods of like eating a lot and then like not having any appetite at all. And it's like this pendulum swing back and forth, which can be like really challenging, like to force yourself to eat when you're like not hungry at all. Especially like with strength training and trying to like gain strength and stuff like that. It's just like miserable.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can't relate to that because I've never like, so I'm just now like trying to eat more and do the whole stereotypical like bulk through the holidays and like try to like put on some size and stuff like that. So it's definitely like a hard curve to go into, like when you like have been obese your whole life and then you like lose weight and then it's like, all right, it's time to gain weight. It's very scary, but
you have to eat the right stuff, right? Like no dirty bulking.
Yeah, I'm
here.
I'm not doing that. No. I'm kind of like, so I just ended a cut and I was like 212 at the start and I ended it at like 196 or something like that.
That's good.
Yeah, and then I was like trying to ease into maintenance and I had a little hiccup. And then like I don't know, like I'm kind of just like right now I'm like eating like intuitively, like I'm not tracking and I'm not weighing myself, so like my weight's probably up like 5 pounds or so, like so I'm probably like sitting like 202 203 somewhere around there. That's what I'm assuming, but I'm trying to stay away from the scale because that'll fuck me up. But
if I'm being honest, like the best gains that I've witnessed and like seen is when people stop intentionally trying to like force themselves into a heavy bulk or force themselves into a heavy like deficit, and you go off of like how your training sessions are, and if like you eat how you wanted to eat that day but still making sure you get enough protein and eating like a balanced diet, and then you go into a training session and you crush it, copy that day over and over and over again until your training session messes up, and then you reevaluate, okay, what do I need to adjust with my food? Because everybody's body is so different. Like how I react to a certain amount of protein may not be how you react. And so it's like, I just always go off of how your training was and like how you're progressing. And if you're not progressing, then like, okay, we probably need to adjust something with your nutrition.
That's a really good way to think of things. I've never like thought like, all right, just eat the same thing every day. What, even though like I basically did for a while, and that's kind of how I approach my cuts, is like just knowing that you're eating the same thing and the scale's going down. So it's like, all right, I'm just gonna keep eating that until like I can't lose, like I stop losing weight or whatever. Like when you hit that like metabolic adaptation, it's like, all right, I gotta lower the calories a little bit more to keep losing. You did mention like not like going into like an extreme deficit or like an extreme surplus, and it's kind of bad because when I first, and you also mentioned the fact that like keto is terrible, which I wanted to touch on that because at the start of my journey, like obviously like that was the sexy thing to do, so that was like my first like introduction into dieting, and I like this was before I even knew what a fucking calorie was, to be honest. Like I don't I never knew exactly what that was for like a long time. Probably like maybe like 10 months into my whole weight loss thing. So I started out with a ketogenic style diet, and I probably was in like a massive like deficit like compared to what I was eating before. So like it do you think it does have a benefit and have like a place in certain journeys, or like would you take someone that's like severely obese and just kind of like try to go in like a smaller deficit at the start, or would like how like Jordan like will like have like rapid fat loss like at the start just to get like the ball rolling type of thing? Like is that something you agree with, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so lots of things to unpack in that. And it's funny, I just had this kind of similar conversation with the owner of the gym that I work at. I don't do anything or teach my clients something that I wouldn't stand behind, like ethically or morally. I understand like the desire to see like the ball rolling, right? Of being like, okay, I see the results, I see the progress, and now I'm going to want to take action based on that. It just can damage some people like mentally, right? Like if you cut their calories so low, how's that going to go after? Like, sure, they have great initial weight loss, or like they lose a lot of water because we cut their carbs. That's gimmicky in a way. To me, that's lying, because that's not true. This is just not like,
it's not like true weight.
It's not the true weight loss, right? And so it's like, I'm that person. Like when I coach a client, I am fully like, hey, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Sometimes you're not going to like it. Sometimes it's not going to be things that you may think is true, but it actually is true. Like sometimes we're going to disagree, but I know what I'm doing and you have to trust me. I have a client that I work with right now, and like she wants weight loss. That's a primary goal. But we're not even like counting calories right now. We're not even in a deficit right now. I'm just having her eat real meals. For the first time ever in her entire life, in 26 years of her life, she's eating meals. Because before she would be like, if I wasn't always like starving or hungry, then I'm not losing weight. I said, that's toxic.
Yeah,
like
terrible.
I was like, we need to eat like at least breakfast, lunch, and dinner of some sort, and like some protein. And she's like, wow, I'm not hungry for the first time ever. I'm sleeping well for the first time ever. My energy and mood is up for the first time ever. Like, I don't feel like crap at work for the first time ever. I'm like, wow, because you're not constantly in this like deprivation of like, I need to constantly starve myself. And that came from people telling her to eat less, eat less, eat less. And so it's like, you have to deal with every person individually. And that's why like podcasts and short form content can get complicated, right? Because like people pay me a lot of money to evaluate their situation and give them the best roadmap and like the best plan that's going to work perfectly for them. And like keto, I don't know if you know the background on keto, but it's a medically induced diet and it's for epilepsy.
Yeah, it
and
has
some severe cases of autism.
It has some benefits with cancer as well.
Right. And so it's like, okay, I do not have the letters after my name to prescribe keto. Okay. Like that's huge. Like there are some trainers out there who could go to jail or be fined if they recommend a ketogenic diet, because they do not have that qualification. They are not a doctor. They are not a nutritionist. They do not have like the ground to say that. Even me, like there's this fine line being a certified personal trainer. I have this fine line in between, like, I can't prescribe someone a diet because that's illegal.
Yep.
And unethical, but I can give like food recommendations that might make you like feel less hungry. I can give you like meal ideas, and like a calorie range, but I cannot prescribe you a diet. I cannot tell you exactly what to eat, even though I'd love to, because like I know what works, but it's illegal. And so again, like doing what's morally right and like what's ethically good versus like what makes you money is like, yeah, I bet right now if I got on my social media and I was like keto this, fat burner that, chlorophyll drops
you would lose a lot of followers.
Well, I would first of all, yeah, my target audience would be like, what the fuck, Alexis? Like, what are you doing? Like literally my DMs would be blasted, because I have all the followers that I have, like I've probably messaged or like virtually met almost all of them, which is like super rare and unique. And all of them message me all the time. So, but the amount of followers I would probably gain and the views would be crazy. And so it's like keto, I can't even comment on it except for the fact that any restrictive diet is going to end in binging. And that's just like human nature. If you restrict yourself so heavily from the foods that you like and enjoy, then you're eventually going to binge them because we have unlimited access. We're not in a third world country where you only have access to lentils and rice. So it's like, don't be so restrictive. Just like eat consistent meals over time, eat protein, stop binging, and just don't be an asshole to yourself.
So what kept you going on your fitness journey? Like, what keeps you going on it?
That's a great question.
It's a very broad thing because
yeah.
it's when you ask anyone this, it's like I feel like the answer you could talk for hours, but
I think probably is because online is so much easier than in person. In person, like every single day, waking up so early and like giving a client my absolute best and like programming something to perfection for them. What gets me going is like when they hit a new PR and like the smile on their face and they're like flexing in the mirror and they're like, oh my gosh, this is actually working. Like I had that experience with a client today. She's like on week 3 with me and she's starting to see some gains. Like she's starting to feel a little bit stronger. She's totally novice. So she's gaining strength very quickly. And she's like, oh my gosh. And she has like a tan and like, she's like seeing definition in the mirror. And she's like, this is amazing.
That's great.
And I'm like, yeah. Like that's like their excitement gets me excited because they're seeing progress and health. And it's just like, woo, that's the whole goal.
Yeah, that's
good,
awesome.
Though, yeah.
So before that question, you mentioned like binge eating and stuff like that from like highly restrictive diets. I'm curious because I do struggle with this like currently kind of in a sense. Like it's not like I'm not diagnosed like BED or anything like that, but there has been times like in the past, like I want to say like a couple of months ago where it was like bad. And this was due to me like not realizing how deep of a deficit I was in for like the longest time trying to get abs and shit. Like just like the stereotypical like, oh, well, I stopped losing weight, like keep decreasing. And like it definitely became a problem. And then like now I know like, okay, I definitely shouldn't be eating like under like 2,000 calories for like a dude that's like my size with my like amount of lean tissue. But it like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of the times binging is like it's romanticized because it's a terrible thing and like people don't understand how it actually is. Like people like sometimes I've heard people say, oh, like I binge, but it's like it's more of like a mindset going into the thing rather than like just like eating some food, like going out to a restaurant and like having a big plate of food. It's like that's not binging. It's like binging is what you do in the dark when no one's around and you just stuff your face until you're sick. And like have you ever had clients that have like experienced some of that?
Yeah, like 9 out of 10.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's not talked about, like you said, because it's concealed.
Yeah,
or it's something
scared.
that they're not even aware of, though. Or so a lot of the times it's more so not like I'm hiding boxes of cereal under my bed. It's the I restrict all day long. I have a coffee. I'll have a tiny salad for lunch or a yogurt. And then by the time I get home, I'm so hungry that one bagel with some eggs turns into 2 bagels, a Pop-Tart, a bag of chips, an entire container of ice cream, to ordering takeout, to then you're like looking at all of your wrappers and you're like, oh my gosh, what just happened?
Yeah, it's crazy.
That wasn't intentional, right? Yeah. But what happened is you restricted yourself so way past the point of what is okay. And then your body's like, you need to eat, right? And that's like our ancestral nature. We are designed to survive. So like having unlimited access to food is awful for that survival instinct, because if you starve yourself so much all day long to the point where your ghrelin and your leptin hormones are just going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, then what are you going to do with your full pantry of food? You're going to eat all of it, because that's what you would have done if you were a hunter and a gatherer and you had been starving for 2 weeks. You would go have a big ass meal.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's crazy how it's not like, it's very frowned upon in like the public space. Like no one talks about it because it's very like hard to unravel and like tell people your problems, especially if that's a problem, because it's embarrassing. It really is. Like, especially like if I post about like how I struggle with it a little bit, like it's hard for me to post that. Like I don't want people to know that. Like people like see me post like, oh, I'm always in the gym every day and stuff like that, and it's like people like look up to me. So it's like if I say like I'm binging, like I don't know, it's like it almost is like it's like a punch in the face type of thing. It's like, I don't know. It's very like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's hard to talk about. It's really just hard to talk about. And that's why I asked you, because like clearly you being a coach and stuff like that, it's definitely a problem that most, like a lot of people struggle with, even like if they don't realize it. Do you think it has a lot to do with like, obviously it's restricting too much, but does it have to do more with like restricting certain types of foods, or like is it more of a food composition thing or more of a quantity thing?
I just think it's a lack of education around food as a whole. Like I just think like you go from high school or middle school where you have designated meal times and snack times and like breaks, and it's very like structured. And then you get a lot of people are adults and they're like, wow, I can spend my money how I want. No one's telling me when to eat, what to eat. I'm just going to eat whatever. And then they don't really know. And then they get fucked like with their weight gain. And then that whole thing is like, that in itself is a psychological battle of like, oh my God, like what do I do now? And no one teaches you how to take care of yourself. Like, the Western world does not teach preventative health, like, or preventative medicine. And like eating and exercising is preventative medicine.
Yeah, imagine, we talked about this on I think we talked about it on one of our podcast episodes, but it was the fact, it was a thing on Facebook that I saw, and it was ways like that the CDC like should have approached like the whole thing, the bad word that I can't say.
Seriously.
And it was like, oh, what if it like banned all tobacco products and like smoking and all that, and
Seriously.
it like encouraged exercise and like taught people like nutrition and stuff like that. Like it would have been so much better than just like, all right, everyone hide, close fast food restaurants, like all that stuff. It was just, but they were decided to just be like, all right, everyone hide.
Or even alcohol. Like now on my intake form, I include a smoking and alcohol intake section, which like I never thought, like being naive and ignorant, like, and being a new coach in the beginning, I was like, no, like, of course they're not going to want to like smoke and drink. And then I had a client who was like, oh yeah, well, I like vape like all day long. And then like, yeah, we like go through, 2 things of Tito's every weekend. And I'm like, oh no, like, excuse me. And I was like, I am so sorry I failed you. Like, I need to reel it in because we're stopping smoking. First of all, like vape is still smoking. And she was like, it is. And I was like, yes, it has nicotine. And she had no idea. And then I was like, the alcohol, like, I'm not saying like telling you what to do with your life, but that is a lot. Like that is drastically affecting your entire life. But it's great because she did listen and she changed her whole life, like her outlook on life, and like everything changes when you don't binge drink all weekend. Like your whole life gets better. Yeah.
So that was definitely something that I came across. I had a client reach out that wanted to hop on a consultation call with me, and they told me like, oh, like my biggest problem is I smoke weed and I get the munchies, and like, I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Stop smoking? I'm like, I don't know, like, is that a thing that you could do? But Yeah, a lot of people like indulge in alcohol and stuff like that. So you mentioned like vaping and nicotine. What do you think like the biggest problems are with like nicotine and other like hunger stimulants like that, like caffeine and stuff?
People are just unaware of their intake and unaware of the long-term effects that it has on their health. I mean, I grew up with someone very close to our family who she was so debilitatingly addicted to cigarettes that like every holiday she would be on the deck smoking, missing out on the holiday, and then like constant bone fractures, constant pain, osteoporosis at the age of like 30. Like it's like that's ridiculous. Like that's you're literally every smoke you're giving away years of your life. And just no one knows because the education isn't out there, like you said.
Especially vaping, yeah.
Vaping.
Oh
is
yeah,
crazy.
vaping
Yeah,
is ridiculous. I mean,
oh my God.
not to be a crazy person, but I just think it should be not around, like not a thing.
Yeah, I'm probably a hypocrite because I was on it for like a while. I was on like a whole nicotine thing.
I was
and
surprised too about
yeah,
that.
and it was obviously like in high school and stuff, and then when I started losing weight, it became like a really bad thing. Like I was like just like one a day, like pods, like jewel pods and stuff like that. It was bad. And I found that it definitely like had like a huge impact on like my hunger hormones and stuff. And once I was like, all right, I should probably like stop doing this. Like I just massive hunger. And then I was like, whoa, shit. It's like, God, now I have to learn how to like diet, like without the like nicotine suppressing my hunger and appetite. And that was like a struggle. But it was also like more of a anxiety like thing because I struggle with like anxiety. And I have for a while and I still do now. And I'm like, if anything, it's worse like now than ever just because like life is like crazy. But, I almost like think that like reintroducing it wouldn't be a problem, but then it just goes back to the fact that it's so terrible. And I'm like, is it worth like being hungry or like anxiety? It's like I know I have to deal with these battles like without like you don't want to rely on anything. So it's very like hard to battle that. But when it comes to like smoking cigarettes and drinking and stuff like that, and even like diet and nutrition, wouldn't you like agree that it's even like the smallest like decreasing like say someone smokes like a pack of cigarettes a day, like do you think even just like say they don't want to quit but just like decreasing that to like half a pack a day instead, like that it will improve health markers regardless?
I'm not a doctor, but obviously any positive step towards reducing intake of any drug is going to be like have a positive impact on your health. I mean, is sleeping more beneficiary to your health? Yes.
Yeah.
Like is drinking more water, any like small step is wildly important because like you have to take all those small steps before you get to the end result anyway.
Yeah, that's like kind of similar to you were like, oh, like we drink 2 Tito's bottles a day or like at the end of the weekend or whatever. It's like, all right, could you just reduce that to 1? And that's like what, like 1,000 less calories that weekend? It's like
literally
because people don't realize.
Or like, yeah, like change your regular soda to diet. I don't
yeah.
care.
Oh, it doesn't taste as good. Well, no shit. It's not fucking sugary. It's not 300 calories a can. It's like, yeah, it's kind of ridiculous because people don't realize that dieting can be that simple and losing weight can be that simple. It's like they think like, oh, I got to eat this. Like I got to eat only veggies and fish. It's like, no, like eat whatever you want. Just eat less of it. It's like as much as like the bad, like the whole like negative stigma around, oh, eat less, move more. Because obviously that has its upsides and downsides because it can become a problem. But like say someone has like the worst diet in the world. They're eating like a couple bowls of cereal a day for breakfast, and then they have like a bunch of like McDonald's for lunch, and then they have like a whole large pizza. It's like, all right, let's just make that pizza half a pizza, and then they start losing a pound a day. It's like it's ridiculous.
It is, and I think like people go for the extremes. Like you were saying, you're
sexy.
Eating,
whatever's sexy.
Below, yeah, you're eating below 2,000 calories. I don't even think like I don't eat below 2,400 calories a day.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
And I'm like 165 pounds. Like I'm almost 5'9". Like and I lift heavy. Like,
Yeah, and
so it's
I'm
like-
realizing that now. It's like I realized that obviously like a couple months back. And like I did the last cut I did it like at a normal pace, and like I knew like, all right, I'm not going under this calorie mark. Like after like I stopped losing weight at this calorie mark, like I'm gonna try to go into maintenance and then like reassess. But at the time when I got down to 180 pounds, when I was like trying to get lean, it was almost like I was just peeling muscle and lean mass off my body, but I was so addicted to seeing the scale go down, because being obese my whole life, that was obviously like the first like marker of progress was seeing the scale go down. And then it just like when I was like around like 210 pounds, like somewhere around there, which that's where I'm at now, is like when I was 180, I was literally just looked like a smaller version of that. Like I didn't look any different. I was just smaller. Like my arms were smaller, my shoulders were smaller, and I didn't like the way I looked. And I was like, well, what the fuck did I just do to my body? Because at the time I was eating 1,800 calories, like, and that's terrible. And then after like coming back from that, I had like such little knowledge on like reversing and all that, like maintenance and all this stuff. So I was just like, all right, just go back to normal or whatever. And then poof, just like puffed up, because like it was like summer and I started like eating like at family events and stuff like that. And I got like, just started gaining weight, and I put on like 30 pounds in like 2 months. And I was like, what the fuck?
But it's like people don't understand body composition, right? And like recomping your body and transforming it into what everyone really envisions, right? Like social media now, we see everyone's like best self, like, and we see all these like bodybuilders and people that we would never come across in our day-to-day life, because like we don't know them or they're not in our circle, and we're like, oh my God, I want to look like that. And it's like at the gym that I work at, it's a private gym, it's very small. Our sales rep and one of our trainers is probably the most, like the best physique I've ever seen in my life. Like, crazy. He works out like 3 times a day, like 3 mini workouts in between his clients, and he eats garbage. Like literally eats fast food every day. And obviously hits his macros and everything, but he's just like, everyone is like, I want to train with him. I want to look like him. I want to be like him. And I'm like, what you don't know about him is he's been training for like 20 years.
Yeah, he was
like,
a 3-sport athlete.
Yeah, so
he has amazing genetics, and
and the most dedicated, like, he works harder than anyone I've ever met in my entire life. Like, I thought I worked hard being an athlete. How he works, he will push himself past the point of like, he's always broken. Like he's always in pain. It's always like you'll hear him working out and watch him in the gym, and you're like, I will never hit that level of like dark, scary time. Like I will never be like that ever, because it's just, he's not human, like in the best kind of way. But most sweet, like gentle, soft spoken, like very nice guy, but like
just chiseled and just scary looking dude.
Completely scary looking, chiseled, like very tall, genetically gifted, all the things. And it's like, he has everything going for him, checks every single box, right? Like I don't check every box. So I'm never going to look like that. I'm not male. I'm not above 6 foot. I don't have the genetic gifting to put on muscle like that. Like I don't have the time, nor do I have the like mental dedication, and I don't want to eat that much. Like
what? Are you crazy?
No, but like where it's your full-time job, where
Yeah.
you're constantly eating and eating and eating, because like in order to maintain that level of muscle, like and building that muscle, no, it's a lot. Like I don't even have the budget to eat that much. We eat a lot. Like now, probably part you don't know, my husband does triathlons, so has an Ironman in December.
Was that him in the background?
Yeah,
Oh,
We
yeah.
should
he
definitely
had to
we should
grab
have
his
him on the
stuff.
podcast.
Looks like a pretty fit dude. Yeah.
Yeah, he's biking right now. So he swam this morning. So he's like, he eats probably 3,000 to 4,000 calories a day.
Yeah, and people
like,
people hear that. People will hear
crazy,
that
yeah.
and they'll be like, "Oh, I wish I could do." No, you don't. You know how much work you have to fucking do to be able to eat that much, and it's sad because I'm like one of those people. I'm like, "Damn, I wish I could do that," but like then again, I know in the back of my head, it's like I'll never be able to do that. Well, maybe I will, but it's not for
you
like
have to
another.
get creative. It's like I have to literally look at every nutrition label and I'm like, all right, oh, for this volume, only 200 calories. It's not worth it. Okay, this volume, 300 calories. Yes. Like,
Yeah.
eat it. Like
Yeah.
pour butter
Yeah.
on everything. Like
It's
a
it's
lot.
people don't realize like that, and that's why I love like your page and stuff. It's you give like really good advice, and everything you post is like it's just good. Like it's just like that's what people need to hear. You know what I mean? And people want it. Obviously, like I said, like people want to hear the crazy stuff. It's like, oh, this juice
Yeah.
cleanse, you lose like 10 pounds, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me? You're literally just drink water. Don't even drink the juice. It's like just drink water. You'll starve yourself. Like people don't
Yeah.
realize that, and I don't know.
I wish I could post more. Like I wish I could help people more. It's hard. Social media is really hard. I've seen you've taken a break a couple times. It fucks with you for sure.
Oh, and I hate it. Like I don't even want it. I only read out. Like I took a break from it for a while, and like my stress levels went cortisol just crashed. I was like, oh, I was just dopamine through the roof, like vibing, going on walks with my dog, like literally, like I just. And like there was always that sense of like when you like, oh, let me grab my phone, like just like that when you're like bored or whatever, and like I got used to being bored, and it was like a good thing because I'm just like at work and I'm just like sitting there just bored, and I'm just like looking around. I'm like, all right, well, this is life. Like I'm just bored. Like, and it's people need to get comfortable with being bored, but social media is just like such an infectious disease that it's like so addictive, and it's really terrible, but it's also a necessity for like modern society. Like you need it to connect with people and stuff, especially in times like this where it's like you're not supposed to be doing like stuff like with friends and whatnot. But only reason I re-downloaded it was like, oh, like I needed to get in contact with you or like other people that I'm trying to have on the podcast and like for business purposes and stuff and networking. But like other than that, it's like I don't want to be on there. And like when I go on there to like shoot someone a message, it's like I catch myself scrolling and I'm like, stop. You gotta stop. You're like, fuck. But like it's, I don't know. I know we're talking a lot about nutrition. I just wanted to ask like what's your approach to like nutrition for yourself? Like
Depends.
I know like all the messages I know you like all the messages you preach and stuff like that, so obviously it's it falls in between those guidelines, but
it depends. Right now I don't have any goals. I'm just vibing. Like I'm not trying to
maintenance and just training, making sure
just training, doing maintenance. I get over 12,000 steps a day with my job. So
me too.
Without intentionally walking, like, which is crazy. And so I move so much now that I just eat when I'm hungry pretty much. And I try and have at least 3 full meals a day that have protein, vegetables. I'll still measure my protein, just to make sure that I'm maintaining my muscle mass. But if I, like, my 30 seconds of like nutrition could be try and put the processed shit down as much as possible. I love a good Pop-Tart as much as the next girl.
Why is that a thing? Why is a Pop-Tart a thing? I feel like everyone says that and everything. They're like, oh, why are you eating Pop-Tarts? It's like it used to be like Twinkies, you know? It used to be Twinkies. Like everyone used to say
it's
that.
It's a trigger food for a lot of people because a serving is 1 Pop-Tart and they sneakily put 2 Pop-Tarts in one package.
Yeah.
And 1 Pop-Tart is 200 calories. So like if you eat both Pop-Tarts, that's a fucking meal for me.
Yeah.
400 calories.
That's like
a snack.
Yeah, that's like 12 ounces or like 4 cups of broccoli, 4 cups of cauliflower, and like a chicken breast or 2. Like I'd rather eat all that.
Like the volume. So it's like just put down the processed shit. I don't restrict it, obviously, but like just try to eat real food that comes from like the earth and the world and like isn't made in a lab.
Yeah. So would that be like the first thing you would like, first step you would take in prescribing a client, regardless of their like history and nutrition and stuff like that? It's just like, all right, let's just start eating food, real food.
Real food. And you'll just be so surprised at how much like better you feel. And like some days I want to come for you because like you eat a lot of like protein, like fake food,
Yeah.
blended stuff.
It's because I
And,
love
like-
it though. It's sad, but I love it.
Which is fine. Like it's okay if that works for you and that's what helps you get in a deficit and that's what helps you hit your macros, great. But like if you were my client, I'd be like, bro, where's the real food? Like, come on.
No, it makes
You
sense.
know what I'm saying?
And the only reason, so like obviously like coming across like people like Greg Doucette and like Remington James and like those type of people who do like these crazy recipes and stuff, it's a sexy thing. So that's like why I got into it. But I don't know. So at the time when I was like dropping weight from 210 to 180, I found that like the more like I have like crazy hunger, like it's ridiculous, and it's like hyperplasia because of the fact that I was obese. So like I still have the same hunger cues like I'm 280 pounds, so it's really hard to like contain myself sometimes. So eating like that much volume and that much protein and like those big recipes and stuff like that, there was a point in time where I was probably eating like close to 300 grams of protein a day. And that was because it was I was able to be like in a deep deficit and it filled me up. But I know it's like bad. And I actually like messed up my hormone levels for a time because of the fact I was eating such low fat. And like I didn't even realize like that was the cause of it. And I just like low energy, like low libido, like everything just sucked. And then like that's when I switched it out and I was like, all right, I need to like fix myself. So then like I started like slowly increasing the fat and like decreasing the protein and getting more calories from fat, like throwing like almonds in my oatmeal and like stuff like that and trying to up the fat intake and stuff. But yeah, I would definitely like, obviously like the best diet for anyone is going to be what they can stick to. So
sustain.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I was able to do that and like I still could do it now, but I enjoy like real food more now. Like I don't make a lot of the recipes like I do anymore because I'm also like lazy as hell. So like, I don't like doing that.
They're
like,
complicated.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time. Like I used to eat like French toast like every breakfast, like that was my thing. And then like now it's like I don't even maybe I'll have it like once a week if that. But it's like because I don't want to cook. I don't like doing dishes.
Yeah, which it's like that works for Greg because he's so low body fat percentage.
Yeah.
Like he has to eat like that to maintain his physique. If he didn't, he wouldn't look like that. And that's what people don't
Well, he also
understand.
is blessed with like amazing genetics. Like you can see like when he was like younger and like not on gear and all that. So he was still like a severely lean person. Like remember he like said like he used to literally just eat like pasta and stuff. And like he was still just like super shredded. And that's just people don't understand the role that genetics play in things. And like obviously I have a skewed perspective because like I want to compete someday. Like I want to hop on stage. So like I want to look like someone that looks like that. And I know like obviously like everyone like all these Instagram influencers and everything, most of them are on gear and stuff like that. So like that's like always something that's in my head, but I don't want to do that necessarily, like not for a while, even if that. But I do want to like have a great natural physique and like a physique that I'm proud of naturally.
Yeah.
And I'm not where I am today, but I intend to be. And like a while, like obviously I know it's going to take time now, and I'm kind of like trying to wrap my head around it because I know I have to like put a little fat on to like gain some more muscle, and then like it's going to be like a long process. But
if I could recommend anything for you, it would be taking like literally a year of working out, like lifting weights as hard and as heavy as possible, obviously with some deloads in there, and just honing in on your nutrition in the sense of not worrying about, am I in a deficit? Am I in a surplus? But literally just fueling your body with whole foods, high protein, and just watch your physique transform.
It's crazy that you say that because I literally like have the same perspective now, is like, because I've literally realized like, all right, like I like tracking food and like weight and all that stuff is kind of just it's like a pain in the ass, and like it obviously like fucks with me mentally and stuff. So I was like, all right, I need to take a step away from that, and I did in the past, and then I like put it back in because like I was like, oh, I need to look good again. But it's like I realized that it's just like a cycle, that it's like a vicious cycle that I can't get out of. But recently, like the past week, so I switched my training program and started like eating more like not tracking, but like just like eating more. And I've realized like workouts obviously like feel so much better. It's like great. Like I just squatted. I
Yes.
squatted like 280 the other day, and I haven't squatted
Hell yeah.
that much weight in like forever. So now I'm like, all right, fuck it. I want to squat 400. So like now like I want to get back into strength training and what I used to do like during football and stuff like that, and get strong, but also
Yeah.
not get huge and fat. Because when I was squatting like 440 pounds, I was 280 pounds and fat. So
Yeah.
it's like the
Which-
whole Jordan thing, like looking good and like look good naked, but be strong as fuck, like type of thing.
Yeah, because you have to get uncomfortable though, like with the not being as lean.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's hard to
it's-
not look in the mirror and be like, damn, I can't see my abs anymore. It's like, fuck.
But like, why?
I know,
Abs
that's
are
what I'm
stupid.
saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like I know all this stuff, and it's still hard to like deal with it. I don't know why. It's very weird.
It's because you get alone and then you get online and then you're like,
Yeah,
but
and
that's just a snapshot.
yeah. Yeah, it's highlights.
not real.
Yeah, it's highlights. And
Yeah.
that's kind of why, that's another reason why I like wanted to take a step back, because I'm like seeing all these amazing physiques all the time, because that's like all I follow is like a bunch of bodybuilders and stuff, and I'm just like, oh, I look
Unfollow.
like shit. Yeah, I'm like, oh, I look like shit. So now that we're like kind of talking about strength, is there anything that you wanted to talk about? Because I know that's obviously your whole Instagram is like nutrition and everything, but like clearly you love strength training and training people and like powerlifting-esque vibes and stuff. So is there anything you wanted to talk
I
about?
do. Which I guess that's a question. Yes, there is something I want to talk about, but would you want to see strength training stuff? I feel like I don't know if people even care. Because the thing I have like I get that anxiety of like, I don't look, yes, I look very strong, like, and stuff, but I'm not deadlifting 400 pounds. Like, I'm not doing these crazy things. You know what I'm saying? I have a lot to offer with technique and like advice, but it's just like, I don't know if I'm good enough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get it. Because people, I have the same kind of thing. It's like people look at me and they're like, oh, like obviously I have like a good amount of like muscle mass on me and stuff like that. So people like think I'm strong, but I'm weak as fuck. Like I'm literally not. I've trained for hypertrophy for like the longest time. I'm not strong. Like people are like, oh, what do you bench? I'm like, I don't fucking know. Like I literally have no idea. Like, and when I went to Utah to I went to a training camp for a supplement company that I work with. And like they're like a CrossFit like company kind of thing. So I was out there like doing CrossFit stuff, and that was like something I've never done before really. And I kind of loved it. Like it was awesome. It was such a good like change of pace. And I went there and I technically hit PRs because like I haven't done that in so long. So I was just like, all right, whatever, let's see how strong I am. And like I hit 225 on bench for a triple, and I like deadlifted like 330 for a triple, and I was like, holy shit. Like, and that's kind of what, and then I came back, when I came home, I hopped right back into like training the way I did, and it just wasn't the same. I was like, this is like stupid. So now like I'm following Adrian Conway's like programming through like their app that they have now. And it's awesome. I love it. So,
well, I'm glad you love it, because some of those apps are scams. Like,
well, I know the dude. Like, I've met him.
That's good.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I know.
Scams in the sense that I'm like, I can tell someone who has no understanding of training like wrote this program, and I'm like, this is a mess. Like, and I ask for a refund and I delete, because I do it for research. Like I'll be like,
That's a good thing.
Smart. That's cool.
let me see what this
Free trial,
person who looks awesome. Yeah. Because I'm like, oh, you're teaching me how to look like you. And it's like, that's a fucking lie. Like, I'm not gonna look like you if I train like you. It's nutrition. But yeah. No, the thing that I actually I'm not gonna squat anymore. So I'm done squatting for the foreseeable future. A lot of people, most of the trainers at my gym don't squat anymore. So, and I'm coming across that more and more and more of like people who've been weightlifting for so many years, they just stop squatting because it's so painful. And it's just so interesting, because since I've stopped squatting, all of my other lifts have gotten better, and I've started PRing in all of my other lifts. And so I don't know. It's just very interesting, because you hear like, oh, the squat's the best, blah, 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 the squat this, the squat that. Like Mark Ripto really like coined that West Side Barbell, like squatting, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, it is so painful. Like I'm so bent up. Like when I leave a squat session, I'm like, I cannot move. And I don't know what it is. I've seen a few doctors and I have like scoliosis and stuff like that. So I shouldn't even be doing it, but I feel so much better. I haven't squatted in 2 weeks.
That's crazy.
And I feel amazing. I feel phenomenal. I hit over 300 pounds on my hip thrusts. Like,
that's a big thing. That's on the come up is hip thrusting. That's like literally on the come up. So
I think it's better. Like if you're deadlifting at least and hip thrusting, then like why squat?
Yeah, I guess.
I'm probably going to get hate for that.
Yeah,
Whatever.
dang.
But like if you're in pain from a lift and you're doing everything mechanically correct, like everything right, you have hamstring and glute activation, you don't have knee pain, but you leave with back pain and you have great core stability and activation and you're bracing correctly. What do you do?
Yeah, that's very true. A lot of people have a hard time like activating the quads in those lifts. And people think that squats are like a quad focused like exercise, but obviously it's a compound movement, so there's a lot of factors that go into it. And I love squatting, so.
But that's so good. Like my clients that want to squat, like we squat, but I stopped. Like I would be in so much pain. My back would hurt so bad.
Yeah, see, I had
hips.
I had the same problem with deadlifting for a while. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I got up to like deadlifting like over 300, and I was like, all right, I'm never deadlifting again. And what do you know? I'm back and I'm deadlifting again. So it's like, because
which maybe I'll go back. Maybe I will.
Yeah.
But right now I'm taking a break.
Yeah, maybe even if you do like go back to squatting and stuff like that, don't go heavy. Just like do it for the movement aspect of it. You know, it's like stop ego lifting.
Hey, I'm not ego lifting for sure, but I'm definitely like.
You definitely care about the weight on the bar.
Sure. Yeah, just a little bit. Just a smidge.
No, there's nothing wrong with that because I do too. You know, it's like, it's as much as like people like say like you shouldn't care or whatever. It's like you don't. It's like
you
it's
care.
One thing. Yeah, it's one thing
Everyone
if you.
Cares.
It's one thing if you care about what other people think about the weight on the bar, but it's also another thing to just like care because you want to lift heavier, as opposed to like people looking at you and saying, "Oh, he's not lifting heavy," you know. Yeah.
Do you know who David Goggins is?
Oh yeah,
of course. This is Cubes' favorite fucking dude. I actually am reading his book right now again.
Yes, so good.
Oh,
yeah.
I just hear him when I'm like lifting. I'm feeling like pain. I'm like, yo, bitch, like, go one more.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I hate you.
Yeah, I started reading his book again when I started like struggling a little bit with my like anxiety and stuff like that, and I'm just like starting to read his book and like just learning his like relearning his past, and I'm just like, damn, I'm a fucking pussy. Like this dude like had the shittiest childhood. It sucks.
Crazy.
It's
And
actually
if he can do it, like anyone, like, yeah. And him like going from like obesity to being a Navy SEAL, like this, it just leaves me speechless if I'm being honest.
yeah. It's fucking
crazy.
Awesome. It's literally awesome.
Yeah.
So if you could choose one, I know we talked about nutrition, we talked about like strength training. What if you could choose one and you could only do one, which would you prefer, like coaching nutrition or coaching people to lift heavy shit?
It's a hard question to answer. If I could choose one and it be my ideal client, right? Like I could pick the person that I'm working with, it's going to be strength training all day long. It's going to be training, programming.
Well, yeah, you're going to pick the dude with the nicest genetics.
No. Not with the nicest genetics, but I'm saying like with good mobility, like
good posture and everything.
Good posture. They show up there. And like, this isn't in any like, it's not in a way that it's probably maybe going to come off, but not someone that is struggling with obesity, because that's not, I think a lot of trainers try and go into that world, and I'm really not a doctor. So it's like, I can help you lose weight. Absolutely. But like, I'm trained, what my background is I'm trained to stack the barbell and help you lift as heavy as possible optimally.
Yeah, see,
like I'm trained to help you gain strength.
Yeah, so I'm currently going through a certification course to become a certified nutrition coach. So like that's kind of what I'm getting into, because that's what I also knew that it's like, because I was there at, like, I want to help people that were in my shoes and just like didn't like want to lose weight and they're just miserable. So it's like I know how that feels, and that's kind of why I want to help people. It's like no coach ever says like, oh, why do you want to be a coach? Like, oh, I want to get rich. It's like, no, you don't.
No.
It's like
it's a thankless, like underpaid, like underrated profession.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
It's very hard. And I feel like I'm a therapist most days. Like
There's nothing wrong with that.
all the tea, all like the stuff. And I think that's what's hard, is because like my ideal client in a perfect world would just want to come in, blast. Oh, hello, Siri talking on my Apple Watch. But my perfect ideal client would like come in, want to blast their workout, go as hard as possible, listen to everything I say, and like thank me at the end of it. But that never happens, like ever.
That kind of answer, you kind of like pieced together a question that I was going to ask. Like if you had like a dream client, like specific, like niche that you like to coach. I
really like ex-athletes.
Yeah,
like people who are athletes their whole life, and then they're like, oh no, what do I do?
Yeah, I know a lot of people who have put on a large amount of weight, like coming out of high school, being 3-sport athletes, and then not being an athlete anymore and eating the same way. It's like you're not, your metabolism is like shot now. It's like, dude, you're not out like running suicides all the time and like all this stuff. Like I know a couple football players who were like 3-sport athletes, and like they're in amazing shape, and now they like just don't look good, and I'm like, dang, like that sucks, because I'm like the opposite. I looked terrible, and like now I look better. I mean, I don't look good, but like I look better, and it's like
glow up.
Yeah, I'm not even done yet though, but that's like what I want to do, is like the whole ex-athlete thing as well, is like I would, if I could, I would take someone that was exactly like me. Like that's my like dream client, is like an ex like lineman who like doesn't need the extra weight anymore to push people around. It's like, all right, let me help you out, brother. When you're coaching a client, like what do you think like the hardest thing like to coach them through is? Like
definitely the eating triggers. Like if they have disordered eating patterns and habits, it's just this very, very, very fine line between I'm not a licensed therapist and this person genuinely needs my help. And it's just very hard. Like, because you want to help that person really badly. And you do have some really good answers like to give, and good help. But it's like, it's not really my place either. So it's like having to help someone the best that you can, and coaching them through that. But not being their therapist is very hard.
Yeah, that it's a lot of the coaching like nowadays and stuff, especially with like the raising like anxiety rates and mental issues and stuff like that, is like it's leaning more towards like, oh, like that's why you see like life coaches and like stuff like that, is because all that, and it's like it makes me want to puke, but like vomit. It's like, what are you coaching? Like your life sucks. Why are you coaching other people? It's really sad. It's bad. It's really bad.
Really sad.
I apologize for saying any of you life coaches out there, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like it's almost like, you know how you hear like, oh, like losing weight and stuff like that is like 80% diet and like 20% training. I don't know if you could hear that in the back. Something just dropped upstairs. I don't know what that was. But people say that, and it's like, I feel like that's coaching nowadays. It's like 80% like psychology and like 20% like compliance. It's like that's all you need, and to like reach your goals.
And that's even like in the gym. You can't train like your neurological abilities, so like how your nervous system responds to training. Like I can't train someone or cue someone to have that mind muscle connection, right? Like if they can't activate their glutes, I can't climb in their body and teach them my nervous system and how my nervous system activates the glutes. And so like that is genetic, that cannot be taught. And so it's like coaching someone through that, impossible. And then they get frustrated because they don't get they don't get the progress that they want.
Yeah.
And unless you're in the gym, like, well, 1,000%. But if you're not in the gym, like coming here, at least not working out, like not training 5 times a week, but like coming here, getting in that space, like stretching, getting fully connected to every inch of your body, like your muscles, your tendons, your ligaments, really understanding like how your body moves. You're not going to be like the best in the gym. You're not going to get the best results.
Yeah. Have you ever like looked into Doug Brignoli?
It sounds really familiar.
He has a book. It's called The Physics of Exercise or Resistance Training. It's very like you'd probably hate it, but it's very interesting.
No.
I think it would be like really beneficial for you to read, but it's a long read and it's very hard to read. It's like a textbook almost, but it's like it's very interesting philosophy on strength training, or not strength training, but training for the purpose of aesthetics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
No.
It's really cool, but he like shits on like all the things that you know and love. So
What, the strength training?
yeah, just like how like squatting and all that stuff. Because the book is based on like aesthetics, obviously. It's not based on like performance and how much weight you can lift.
And see, I don't care about aesthetics, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I know. And that's what I'm saying. It's like it's based on your goals. Like that's why I read it, because it's like I want to look better. So it's like good to like know multiple philosophies on like how people want to. But then I realized like I just fucking love like squatting and benching and stuff. So it's like that's what I want to do. So fuck it. And back to the squats. When you said that you were gonna stop squatting, you said you like just absolutely felt like shit like after like a heavy squatting session and stuff like that. Do you think it has a lot to do with like just taxing your CNS? Like your CNS just can't handle that?
Yeah, I think like my central nervous system is shot from overdoing the squats and it needs to recover. And so I'm still doing legs, like I'm doing Bulgarian split squats, arguably harder lifts, like more complex lifts.
And you're still putting weight on your back?
A little, not a lot.
Because that's probably has a lot to do with it, is just the spinal aspect of it, because it's so much
Right.
compression.
Yeah. And so I'm trying not to do basically any spinal compressions. So I'll hold the weights at my sides, but I'm just not loading my back pretty much. And even sometimes a heavy bench press will like mess up, like leave me dizzy.
Because you're
for
under
a
the
couple-
bar.
That's crazy.
Huh, that's very
I'm under the
odd.
bar for
Yeah.
a couple days.
And deadlifting, no problems at all?
It depends. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It's like hit or miss. And I think it's the days that my core, so like, because I teach so much, I'm like, my core is so exhausted because I'm bracing all day long because I'm lifting weights cold to like show clients how to lift. So a lot of the times I'm like really focusing on bracing so I don't hurt myself. So by the time I'm ready to work out, my core is so spent that like when I go into a heavy deadlift, I can't brace enough. And so I'll really feel that the next day.
Yeah, I think
that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I think a lot of the problems I have with deadlifting has to do with like activating my core and stuff like that, and more of a it's more of like a core thing for me, because I have like lower back issues from a previous injury when I thought it was cool in like freshman year trying to like deadlift like over 300 pounds when I was like this tiny little kid still. So
shrimp.
yeah, so I hurt myself then. I couldn't walk for like a week. Like I definitely had like a bulge disc or something like that. And it's been a problem for like a while now, and I saw a chiropractor, but the chiropractic industry is flawed and they just want money. They don't really give a fuck about your back.
Thumbs down.
Yeah, so that didn't help. And then I had to go through like a bunch of testing for like a mental thing that I struggled with in the past, and they had to do a spinal tap on me, and they fucked the spinal tap up and fucked my back up even more. So yeah, so I got some fucked up back problems, but I think it's like so I'll stop deadlifting for a while and then I'll pick it back up and like build up strength again, and then once I get to a certain point, it's like, oh, my back hurts, it hurts again. So then it's like, all right, I should probably take a break, and then it's like I just lose all the strength, and then I have to. It's just like a constant thing.
It's a cycle.
Yeah.
So you could do single leg exercises, like single leg.
Yeah, like
deadlifts,
RDLs and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's in
And
my
then-
programming now, so that's a good thing.
Good. And then if you're going to see anybody, see a physical therapist, a good one, like a sports centered physical therapist. Chiropractors a lot of them are gimmicky. And then you should sue for your spinal tap.
I know. I asked my mom, like, I was like, why didn't you sue? Like, what the hell? Like, so because they did it, and I, like, when they, like, got into my spinal cord, I, like, flinched. So it, like, because they put it in, like, too deep or, like, wrong or something like that. So then, like, I had the needle in my back and I flinched, so it, like, moved or whatever and fucked my spinal cord up. And then they had to do it again because they didn't get enough fluid or whatever. So that sucked. But whatever.
Yeah, that's not a hard thing to. So my dad's a neurosurgeon. So he's like, I know a lot about the spine.
That's
Growing
awesome.
up,
That's cool.
like, there would be
Diagrams in your bedroom.
literally no, like that. My dad has like real spines.
This
like,
is called
Wow.
lumbar flexion.
literally
4 years
all
old.
in like skulls in the house, like very strange stuff. So yeah, know a lot about anatomy and like spines and spinal taps, and people do flinch, but if you're a good enough doctor,
Yeah. Yeah, the book that I recommended to you has a lot of that, like anatomical movement and how like the physics of like the body moves and stuff and all that stuff. So it's really interesting. It's literally
Yeah.
like a science book. It's very science.
which I'm down for. I'm a big proponent of like there's no right technique just because of there's basics obviously, but because of how everybody's body mechanics are so different, like everyone's lifts are going to look totally different.
Yeah, that's true.
How would you define failure in one's diet or nutrition or training?
How would I, sorry, what'd you say? How would I
define failure in one's diet or nutrition or training?
Gosh, there's not really failing, right? Because it's so fluid. I think failing your diet, we'll take it in two parts. Failing your diet is maybe if you set a plan for yourself and then you completely derail from that and you don't keep yourself accountable to that plan. Now, it better be a good plan, like not a plan that was like you're saying, like too deep of a deficit. Obviously, you're going to fail. But if it's a good enough plan and you've had the right coaching and the right design, keeping accountable to that, if you don't, then sure, you failed. But really, like, nutrition is so fluid, especially here. Like, we have holidays, we have birthdays, we have life. Like, it's going to be fluid. It's going to be constantly changing. And so, like, feeling like a failure isn't going to make you successful with your diet if it's always like, oh, I failed today. Oh, I failed today. Oh, I failed today. It's like instead having a little bit of grace and like forgiveness with yourself and understanding that your diet is going to be fluid and maybe hitting like some different markers, like we've talked about, like protein and carbs, and then moving on with your life, or calories and moving on with your life. And then like with training, I think everyone feels like a failure with training. And especially if you're in Trevor's mindset of like, I need to look better, like I need to lift harder, I need to do this. Like, it's like, I guarantee Greg Doucette always feels like a failure with training. But I think where like you pass the divide, where you get to a point like Jordan Syatt, he's always like, oh, that session was so good. Like, I'm awesome, blah, blah, blah. Jiu-jitsu, that was great. The only time he views a failure is when he gets an injury. Like, he'll be like, oh, I fucked my knee. This sucks. Like, I failed. And I think that's how I would approach training, unless you're doing like training for a bodybuilding or like a top tier professional athlete. Like, obviously you have markers that you need to hit. But if you're just like Gen Pop, like just all of us people out here, is
We're not
failure if you
Pop.
we are Gen Pop. Come on. We are. But I mean, you only fail if you get injured, I think, because that takes you out of the game.
It's true.
Yeah,
And if you can
mindset.
constantly, if you can play the game, then you're always winning, right? It's like, I love this guy who does issues with knees, and he talks about if you can walk, like if you can move, you can get stronger, you can be better, because like you can play the game, right? So if you take yourself completely out of the game, then you fail. So like if you're dead, you failed. If
You're
you
not
hurt
breathing,
yourself so bad,
You're a failure
You
if you're
can't-
not breathing.
right? Because you can't come back from those things if you have like a debilitating injury that you can really never, like if you're paraplegic or something like that, you can still play like sports and stuff, but you can't get back to what you were before. Or if you have an amputation, okay, Like you can still play the game, but you can't get all the way back to what you had before.
Yeah.
And so it's like that line of failure to me, it doesn't really exist. Like you can't really fail.
Yeah, so
That's a good way.
how I like see it is like when it comes to like diet and nutrition, it's like people will have a plan for themselves, say it's a good plan too, and they'll like diverge from it like the tiniest bit, and they're like, oh, I fucked up. So then it just becomes like all right, well, I'll start on Monday. And then it's like you binge, and then you like do all this stuff, and then you come back and you're like, all right, it's day one again, and it sucks. And it people get trapped in that cycle. So if you could give anyone like advice to not get trapped in that cycle, what would you give them?
Either go two ways. Do 75 hard and actually keep
Did you do that?
yeah, and no, I can't do that. But like actually keep yourself accountable to that, right? If you really truly struggle with the cycle, and make it like even worse, not that, oh, I need to restart, but that like you have a punishment. Like if you can't do 75 hard for like in its fullest extent, then like it's maybe you don't take that vacation that you told yourself like that's already paid for, like, you know, actually have consequences, which is like crazy. A lot of people, adults, need those boundaries with themselves. Or it's like, just take a second, and like the second path I would say that's less extreme is just like, just stop trying to diet, stop trying to restrict, stop trying to work out 7 days a week, throw away your Apple Watch, throw away your social media, stop.
That
Take
sounds
a week.
pretty extreme. No, I'm kidding.
No, but just like stop.
Yeah,
Stop
no, it
trying
makes sense.
to do all these things and setting all these goals. Stop putting this pressure on yourself, because obviously it's not working. Like if you're putting these goals in place and you can't meet this goal, and then you can't meet this goal, and so you do an even more restrictive goal because you're trying to make up for the other goal that you didn't meet. Stop setting goals and just take a minute and get real with yourself and be actually realistic with what you're capable of and what you can push yourself in. Like setting pros and cons of like, okay, drinking water, I can do more of that. That's pretty easy. Maybe walking 5,000 steps a day. Sure, I could probably do that. That's pretty easy. Like, I think it's Eric Roberts. He just posted a thing about setting realistic, easy goals, like goals that should feel easy. Doing 10 bicep curls of like a new weight that's like 2 pounds more, like an easy goal, something that's super attainable. Master that little block. Make it a little bit harder. Make it a little bit harder. And stop trying to be like, okay, I'm going to eat 1,200 calories a day for the next 6 weeks so that I'll lose 10 pounds and then I'll look good in this bikini. And then whoops, I actually gained 10 pounds. It's like, okay, how about just make it super easy, super simple. I'm going to eat real food for the next 6 weeks. I'm not going to eat out. I'm just going to eat real food. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter how much it is, just real food.
Okay, yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Just to be like devil's advocate, some people, because obviously that's what I'm supposed to do, but for some people, they take the advice, the first piece of advice that you give, like the whole like 75 hard, like crazy approach, and a lot of people like put it this way. Something that I like to think all the time is like, no one who said they were gonna make $1 million made $1 million. Like. They made $100K a year or something like that.
Yeah.
And that has to do with the whole setting goals things. Is some people set these unrealistic goals and achieve less of what they like wanted to, but they still achieve like $100K a year is fucking great. Like that's amazing. But it's like the only way they got to there was because they set such an unrealistic goal. So do you think that has like any benefit?
I think that's rare.
Yeah.
Like I think that's rare to shoot really high. Because at the end of the day, how did you feel? You felt unsatisfied. Sure, you made $100,000, but at the end of the day, you still felt like a failure. So was it worth it? No.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it.
Instead of being like, okay, I need to make $100,000 this year, you make $100,000, you feel extremely accomplished, and you're motivated by those results. So then maybe next year you do make $1 million.
That's true. That's a good way to think of it. Because I'm always
defeated.
I'm always like set the unrealistic goal and over like I'm an overachiever. Like I literally have like like my first like music like project was literally called like it was like the intrepid, psychotic, remorseless mind of an overachiever. Like that was the title of the thing. Wicked long title, but that's like that's how I was feeling. And I am like a super like overachiever. Like I said, and it's crazy that you say like, oh, like you set those goals and you don't reach them, you feel like a failure, rather than like setting like a realistic goal and achieving it, you feel so much better. And that's so true, because like me like wanting to be like a certain weight and then like reaching that weight and I'm just like, I don't even like the way I look. So it's like, what the fuck did I just do? Like, it's stupid. So I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah, and I think people like, what is it, all gas no brakes, like they try and just plow through life, and life is meant to be enjoyed. Like you don't know how much time you have here, right? And so it's like, if you spent it constantly feeling disappointed in yourself, that's not really an enjoyable way to live your time that you have on earth. Instead of constantly feeling like you're making progress, even if it's just a little bit of progress, like that mentality is going to thrust you so much further into life than constantly being upset and beating yourself up for not achieving these like really extreme goals.
Yeah, that's something I'm definitely trying to be like more comfortable with, is like the whole like laugh now, cry later type of thing. Like you can like, you got to like, and my girlfriend has this tattooed on her. It's like like more present and less morose, like just being like in the now rather than like focusing on like all this other like stuff that's gonna like maybe happen, maybe not happen. And that's all like, and that stems back to like the whole anxiety like epidemic that like goes on nowadays. Is all anxiety is fear of the unknown. So like it's really sad because it's a problem that a lot of people struggle with, and it's it's like it's the fear of unknown. Like, what are you scared about? Nothing. It's like, then why is it a thing? It's like it sucks because there's like there's like, obviously there's science behind it and stuff like that, but it like the chemical imbalances in the brain and whatnot, but it really is just like being like scared of something that hasn't happened yet.
And my thing that I always ask clients when they're scared, right, to try something that I'm suggesting, like starting with making small goals, is I said, what's the worst that could happen? You make these small goals, these small changes, you feel better, and you actually reach your goals, or you do this for 3 to 6 months and it doesn't work and you go back to what you did before. Like, would you actually lose? Nothing.
People are like, have a hard time with being patient when it comes to achieving goals, and I do too. And I'm a hypocrite, but I'm literally like the biggest.
I think
hypocrite.
we all are.
Yeah, I'm
in the
biggest
fitness
hypocrite.
industry a little bit.
Yeah, it makes sense. No, it definitely is a thing. But like it's the whole like instant gratification versus like delayed gratification thing. It's like, do you want your results now? It's like, do you like, you can't. What is it? What's the saying? Like, you can't have your cake and eat it type of thing. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, can't have your cake and eat it too. And it's just, it's because of our phones, probably internet, access to unlimited amounts of information. It's too much.
Yeah, it definitely is a lot on the brain, especially, and it sucks. So I have an 8-year-old sister, and she has a phone.
Wow.
And it's like, I didn't have a phone until I was 13. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, and she like, it's like the whole like TikTok scene and like all this stuff is like I said, it's an infectious disease, and it sucks because like I don't even spend my time like with my family as much anymore, because like if I go upstairs, guarantee every single one of my family members is like this
on their phone.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, my phone's downstairs. Like, I don't even like need it like that. And it's like, I struggle with like being on my phone too much, but like it's nothing compared to like what actual people are. Like, I'm so much better than other people. Like, not trying to like be like that, but it's like my screen time is like 2 hours in a day, and I'm like, dang, that's too high. And then, like, but other people's is like 7 hours a day, and I'm like, Jesus.
That's
like,
a full-time job.
Yeah, literally.
Like, what could you do with that time?
Yeah.
Like, you could have another business.
Yeah, a lot of, and that's a big thing is time. Like, people are like, when it comes to diet and training, it's, I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to diet. I don't have time to prep cook. Yeah. You're over here prep cooking and like PRing and all this stuff or whatever. Like, and you're working like, what would you say, like 12-hour shift basically? Like, just all
like
day?
8 to 8. Yeah. 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Yeah, and I get like a few hours in between for lunch. Yeah,
and it's like trying to like run your Instagram and work out and stay on your diet, as well as like trying to train other people online and in person. Like, it's people like think their lives are as busy. When it comes to like entrepreneurship and stuff like that, it's way different. It's not a thing.
And
like,
I'm a wife. Like, I have a husband.
Yeah,
who,
that
like,
too. And
And we
I'm
have
assuming
dogs.
I'm assuming you're gonna have like a family and stuff like that. Obviously, your dogs is like part of the family, so yeah, that's taking care of dogs is a huge task. I want a fucking dog. I'm jealous.
2 dogs, it's a lot. I think 2 dogs is very almost as like having 1 kid, almost.
What kind of dogs are they?
We have a German Shepherd and then a Samoyed, which is like the big white fluffy dogs.
Oh snap! How big is he or her?
Henry is his name. Henry and Scout. Henry's like, gosh, 60 pounds, 65 pounds. He looks way bigger though. And Scout is just a year and she's 70 pounds. She's a little chonker. She needs to lose some weight.
And that's the Shepherd.
Oh,
you guys
There's
can't
a
see this
shepherd.
because we're not in video, but
Sorry, yeah,
very cute
but
German
they're
Shepherd.
cute. Go check them out.
Oh.
On
geez,
social media.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a little Australian Shepherd named Thea.
Oh,
Yeah,
sweet.
she's a pretty girl. So back on the topic.
Yeah.
Like, what do you? So, like, as us being like, quote unquote, part of the fitness industry, because like we kind of are, but obviously we're like subpar compared to like people that are like have big followings and whatnot.
Yeah.
What do you see as like the most like prominent pieces of information in the fitness industry, like that are like the biggest dissuaders in the space in terms of like people accepting the information, like rather than like basically like what are the main like false like things that you see on the social media that everyone wants to believe rather than like accepting the information that like you're giving or someone like Jordan's giving?
Yeah. Actually, one that really kind of makes me feel some type of way is when people post like workouts online and they'll be
the
like
swipe workouts.
Yeah, they're
swipe
like,
workouts.
do this ab workout or do this butt blaster or whatever. And they're like basically insinuating that like if you do this workout, you will get this result. Or
I am such in agreement with you right now because there's a girl that that is on Instagram that I don't know personally, but I know her in person type of thing. She goes to the gym that I work at, and she like posted something, and I hate to like call her out. It's kind of fucked.
It's okay. Just don't say her name.
Yeah, no. Well, she didn't even know me really, so it's kind of like whatever. But she posted something, and she has like 12,000 followers. Yeah, I was gonna say it's like out of focus. She has like 13,000 followers on Instagram, and she posted she posted something the other day, and it was like best flat tummy workouts, and I was like, oh my god. And then there was another post that was what was it? It was like, oh, best ab workouts for a smaller waist, and I was like, oh my god, like I just want to throw my phone. It's actually ridiculous.
Yeah, it's those, and then it's like, or just they'll look like me, like do this and you'll look like me kind of things. I just can't stand it because then I don't post anything like that. And so they're like, well, why would I take your advice if I can't see what you look like? Or why would I take what you're saying if you don't have shredded abs? When it's like,
yeah, and that's something that I struggle with is like if I don't look like a certain way, it's like why would people listen to me? But they already do know that I've like lost weight and stuff like that. So, but I don't know, it's definitely something that like I feel like a lot of people in the fitness industry like deal with is like, oh, like I don't look good enough to give people advice. Like why would they listen to me? And that has to do with the whole like imposter syndrome type of thing.
It does. And I think that I get that a lot with the strength training and stuff like that. I'm like,
yeah, you're not this big jacked CrossFit athlete looking girl. Yeah.
Right. And so I'm like, oh, no one's gonna want to listen. But then I kind of think about, oh, but what I do have to say could help the person that isn't looking for that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Gen Pop people type of thing.
Gen Pop people, which like that's not derogatory, Gen Pop people.
No, it's good to be Gen Pop.
It's good to be Gen Pop.
Life is good when you're Gen Pop. Life sucks anywhere else.
It really does.
It's
Gen
very
Pop
stressful.
is like easygoing, free, not in the fitness industry of anxiety and like mean people. But no, there's actually like it's been fun for sure. I think the whole people are looking for answers, and social media complicates things because there's not censorship of information, which is like part of being free and in America, which is amazing. Like great. But there are definitely some assholes out there who do not care about you at all.
They just want money.
I just want them.
Yeah, but I think it becomes pretty obvious. Like the saddest thing ever for me, well, a lot of people find my podcast for diet nutrition is like people it auto like fills to send people towards Calorie Deficit University. They'll message me on Instagram and be like, oh, I listened to your podcast, I have this question, blah blah blah, and I'm like, boom, hey, text message, let me talk to you, here's the answers, love you, like thanks for the support, have a great day. And they'll be like, oh my gosh, like I've never in my life, like you're so amazing, like how could you ever, like a measly like person like me want to message me? I'm like, why not? Like I love you, you're a human, I'm a human, I'm just sharing information, I'm glad you're benefiting from it, thanks for the support, if you need anything, let me know. And they're like mind blown, because anyone else that they've ever messaged in the past tries to sell them something, adds them to an email automated generated list, which is the word that is like should be illegal, like with misuse of personal data and information.
I think it is illegal in some sense to like do it without consent. But then again, like no one reads the terms and conditions of anything, so
that's true. Or they just don't. They ghost them. Like they'll read the message and then just never respond,
or just unsubscribe from the email list.
Yeah, that too. But so it's very crazy. I started podcasts kind of like you guys on a whim, and I was like, oh, this will just be a fun space to like bop around, have some banter, like super cool, casual. I hit over 5,000 downloads now, like, and I've only have
handful of episodes.
12 episodes.
I listened to a couple of them.
Oh, thanks. But it's like, and they're not very good, I don't think, but it's okay.
No, they're
I'm
good.
Just trying my best, and it's like that's awesome. What'd you say?
So that's all you can do is try your best.
Yeah, but it's like crazy. Like the world is amazing, and just being as kind as possible gets the most return, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's like a problem when it comes to like me. Like people will reach out to me and they're like ask me a question, or like say they're like interested in dieting or whatever, and I'm like, oh yeah, cool, let's hop on a call. And I think they just think I'm gonna sell them something, and it's like, no, like I really just want to like talk to you. I don't want to type like a long ass thing of how I can help you, you know what I mean? Like I want to hop on a call, have a conversation with you, and like see where you're at and like help you out. Like that's all I want to do. I just want to help you. Like I don't really give a fuck about like the money thing. Like that's gonna come like way later. Like I don't that the money aspect and the monetization of like coaching comes when you can't do it for free anymore. It's like it's only like I can do all the nutritional advice and like help people out and answer questions and anything like that. And that's what I always tell people. Like say I'll do a consultation call and it's specifically for like inbound, like an inbound client or something like that. And it's like I like tell them like the process and everything, and like answer some of their questions, and then I pitch them and like give them my offer and like and sell them, or try to anyways, and try to close them, and like they say no, and I'm like, oh great, like that's completely fine. Like I'm just trying to do what's best for you. I'm not trying to like make money off of you. I want to help you reach your goals and then get rid of you so you can do it on your own. Like it's not. And even when people say no, I'm like, all right, well, like don't ever hesitate to like reach out. Like you know where to find me. Like I'll always answer your questions. Like I don't, like you don't need to pay me for like you to DM me and ask me a question.
And that's too, nobody talks about what they charge. Like it's taboo. Like I'll be like to another coach, I'll be like, so what are you charging for that service? Like, let's compare rates. And they're like, do not ask me. And it's like, well, but like, I want to make sure that, you know, we're both getting a fair like market value, especially with online coaching, man. I've seen like, and I would tell Greg this to his face. He's amazing. I love Greg Doucette. I think he offers invaluable information, like fantastic social media. Awesome. He charges a shit ton for coaching. Like, he charges
$2,000. It's like $2,000, $3,000. Yeah, I've looked at it before. I was like, Jesus.
And I've been like, okay, let me give you my firstborn child. Like, that is a lot of money for like 30 minutes. Like, and so I'm just like, ooh, that's a little much. And then everyone, I think, has an issue with hiring a coach, especially online. They're like, oh my God.
Because they don't know who to trust.
They don't know who to trust. And then they don't understand the value. Like they don't understand that it costs me money to keep my certifications up to date. They don't understand it takes me hours like to do everything on my own. Emails, my LLC filings, my taxes, my like accounting, all my billables, like my equipment, like I have a microphone, I have headphones, I have a computer. Like I don't make any money from online coaching pretty much at the end of the day, like, because it all goes back into the business and making it better. And so it's like, people don't even want to pay $250 a month, even though they get unlimited access to me.
Yeah, that's like that's so cheap. Like they don't realize that that's like wicked cheap. Like, yeah, I feel like the first client that I had him for 3 months because I did a 3-month minimum like commitment fee because I don't want them like paying me and then running away and then blaming me. So it's like, you're going to pay me and you're going to stay with me for 3 months regardless. So I charged him like, it was like $115 for 3 months for a month. So $345.
$45, yeah.
For 3 months. And he lost like 14 pounds and like he's like developed like great eating habits and stuff like that. And then I was like, all right, well, your 3 months is up, like did you want to like continue and hire me? And then it's going to be like, I warned him like a month in advance that my prices were going to go up because I was trying to get more clients and stuff. And he was like, no, like I think like I can do it on my own and blah blah. And I was like, all right, great, that was the goal, like shoo. Now go do it on your own. Like I'm always here if you ever want to like talk or ask me a question, or if you like consider hiring me again, like I'm like right here.
I'm here. So. It's awesome. Which, by the way, that's too cheap. $115.
Yeah, I know. Well, that was the first time I ever like was like, all right, let me like take on a client. Obviously,
the
like,
bare minimum would be like $120, like bare, like your first client ever.
Yeah,
that would be what I would say.
So what motivated you or inspired you to start your journey? Like, what got you to like start it? To
start like my.
Like coaching or Instagram.
Like, were you inspired from anyone or
Jordan Syatt for sure. He just like, I think one time he posted like, you know, what's stopping you? Like, why the fuck not? And I was like, okay. And I think the first couple months were very hard because I was all in my head. I was like, I'm not good enough. I'm not getting good metrics or insights or like whatever. And then it wasn't until I started like messaging with real people that I was like, oh, sorry, my dog's barking. I'm like, wow, this actually makes an impact on people. I'm so sorry. I'm going to text my husband and say, shut the fuck up. Dogs, ? Stop barking. This is the reality of podcasting when you're poor. Like being in a house where you can't.
I got a basement to myself, so
yeah, that's nice.
I'm set up on a pool table right now.
Sick. This is like our spare bedroom. But no, actually, like realizing you impact real people and like one person at a time is like, I don't know. It was definitely hard, but yes, to answer your question, simply put, Jordan. Just that challenge of like, why not? Like, what's the worst going to happen? You're just going to delete the page or you're just going to like blip offline. Like, okay, if no one cared before, then no one's going to care if you're gone after. And just like his journey, his story of like being Gary Vee's coach. And then like, he never posted before. And then started posting, just being consistent and posting valuable information. And then like started a whole business off of that. It's like, oh, I was like, that's quantifiable. Like I could do that. Like even if I'm not making millions of dollars, I could do that. Like I could help people online and give valuable information.
I doubt he even makes millions of dollars. Like as big as his following is, he definitely gets like ad revenue and stuff like that on his like YouTube videos and stuff. But I feel like when it comes to, I don't even know, like, because he does the podcast, has the YouTube, does coaching, and I'm sure he does other stuff as well. But it's like he's busy as hell, and he talks about it all the time how he doesn't charge like over like $300 a month or $400 a month or whatever it is, because he said like he doesn't value his like his stuff more than that. But he does have like the inner circle and stuff like that.
Yeah, so he has the inner circle, and then he does mentorship. So he does business coaching and mentorship, and that's expensive. And I don't know how many people he has in that, and it's shared.
But he also does that with Mike, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know about that. His podcast is really popular. He has 2, and they both have over 1 million downloads.
Okay, maybe he makes $1 million. I don't know.
I don't think he makes millions. Sorry, Jordan. I'm talking about your money.
Ask him if he makes it on the podcast.
He would probably be like, "Fuck you."
Yeah. How much do you make, Jordan? People want to know.
I think he'd be like, "That's no one's ever asked me that before. I don't even know. Let me see."
Yeah.
Like, I think he would genuinely be like, "Does it matter?"
Yeah, he probably would answer too. He'd probably be like, "Let me check my bank account. Let me check my statement."
Like, let me see. It's in the ballpark of. Yeah, no, he'd be honest for sure, but I wouldn't be an asshole. Money is like, people don't like to talk about it. I definitely think he's making enough to sustain his lifestyle of like doing whatever the fuck he wants when he wants.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and that's a good spot to be in.
So
that's everyone's goal.
Yeah, that's like everybody's.
Oh, did you just hear that?
That's crazy. But that's okay. That's all we want, though, right? Do what you want when you want, and like not feel stressed about money. Like not feeling like, how will I afford to eat next month? Don't know.
Tell me about it. Looking at the bank account like, oh, can I fill my gas tank today?
And I've definitely been there before, for sure. Like, been there where like there's $15 and you're like, well, this is interesting.
Yeah, what do I do now?
Like, what do I do now?
Oh no, it's car insurance is coming up. It's like, fuck.
It is. But yeah, that's a good question.
All right, I got like we can do like this, like, I don't know, like rapid question answering.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So I got, let's see, 1, 2, 3.
Just shoot them. Just go.
All right. Some of them might not be rapid, but all right. What are your thoughts on the word toned?
Overused, overrated, not really what it actually means.
So you hate it. You hate it as much as I do. All right. Yeah.
People don't know what they want. That when someone says I want to get toned, I'm like, great, you're going to be a difficult client.
Yeah, literally. I hate when people say, like, people will slide in my DMs and say that, and I'm like, you mean you want to get lean and build muscle, right? Like,
yeah, and then it's like, oh, that's difficult. So like, that's just horrible word.
Yeah. All right. What are your like biggest pet peeves that a client could have? Or what is your biggest?
They pay a lot. They sign up. And then they don't want to do anything I tell them to do. And then they're like, why am I not getting results? You suck. It's like, okay, bye.
Okay, so it's their fault.
see you.
Yeah,
like,
I guess it's my fault.
They're just not, they want the easy way out. How about that?
That makes sense.
They just want someone to like
they want
tell
the red
them,
pill.
Yeah, actually, they want a little pill that they take and like everything goes perfect.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, I hate that too. I know you have a husband and stuff like that, but I ask every single girl that I talk to about this because it's like a constant debate that I love to have. When looking like for a guy, whatever, when it comes to like physical attraction, abs or big arms?
Oh, I've never been asked that before.
Yeah, right. See, a lot of girls haven't, and I ask them this, and they're like, "Oh, that's confusing." I can tell you like most of the time, I know what that answer is like most of the time. So,
actually, can I give a C option?
Chest?
No, a big booty, a dump truck.
Yeah, big dump truck.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense. Yeah. So most of the time when I ask like big arms or abs, girls say big arms because obviously like you don't see a lot of guys with abs like that are like built and stuff like that because a lot if you have abs you're like skinny and 100 pounds soaking wet, so it's like
that's true.
Yeah.
I just think like strong legs. Awesome.
Yeah. See,
like big fat ass, great.
Yeah, it's weird because like I always like obviously like everyone like skips leg day and stuff like that, but I've always had like bigger legs and stuff like that, and it's become like such like more of a focus for me. Like I want to have fucking massive quads. Like that's what I want.
It's really attractive though. It's really sexy. Like ever since my husband started doing triathlons, he's gonna fucking kill me. Juicy dump truck, and I'm like,
why is it attractive to you though? Do you know why, or is it just like a
because I know like you're strong. Like it's like I don't know. You just look strong.
Like a powerful base. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, just like good powerful base. I know like you can lift. I don't know. You're gonna be able to lift me. Like,
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. I think a lot of girls would definitely agree. If any girls listen to this.
Something to like squeeze. Slap when you're sliding by.
Yeah, my girlfriend definitely relates to this. She likes to slap my butt and I'm like, what the fuck?
See? It is. It's a thing.
So speaking of your husband, like how does he like does he support you in like your business and everything like fully and like are you guys like does he help you at all in your business and stuff like that or is he kind of just like
definitely there for me. It's a one pony show. I'm super type A, so I do everything. He's probably the most supportive human being I've ever met in my life. Like I married him because of the support that he like emotionally provided me from the beginning of our relationships. Like I knew that he was the one when he was like, don't let people treat you like that and like fuck that person and like just things that I never heard before. He's amazing. And he honestly supported me for a while and still now, like financially, he brings home the bacon. Like I'm just chilling, like trying to build and build and build, and he makes all of our money.
What does he do for work?
Me?
No, him.
Or him. Yeah. So
I know what you do for work.
Yeah. Okay. He has his master's in industrial organizational psychology. And he just got a new job for Talent Seer, and it's basically he builds teams for this AI company. So that's what he does. He does like team building. He can do consulting, like workforce management, very complicated stuff.
Sounds like a moneymaker.
He's awesome. He's a dream.
Yeah, it sounds like it. That's good. So do you have any like book recommendations? Like if you were to recommend books to people to read?
Actually one book that I'm reading right now that's actually pretty good is by James Smith. Have you know he's British. You've had to have seen him. He's like the guy that's like he's basically the British Jordan Syatt.
I can't put a face to the name. I'm sure I've probably like seen him, but I can't.
Yeah, he has 2 books. I've only read one of them, and it's called Not Your Life Coach. That's what it's titled. Huh. Like he's not your life coach, but it's like a book about how to like optimize your happiness. It's very good. Because people don't do that. They're like, how can I optimize my money? How can I optimize like my time?
It's like, why does that matter? Yeah, happiness is way more important for sure.
Important, exactly. So I think like any book about happiness, 100%. But it's been really good. And then David Goggins' memoir, killer. Could read that on repeat. Facts.
Did you ever listen to the audiobook?
I don't.
He like actually like does the audiobook and like there's like there's like snippets in it where he like talks about like it's like outside of the book parameters, like it's like him like actually explaining stuff. I've never done it either, but I've heard it. Like I need to listen to it. It sounds like a really
I do too.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. Do you have like a favorite quote or motto that you like constantly remind yourself or live by?
Not a quote or a motto, just a philosophy of like always trying to be better every day, trying to be like live outside of yourself. A huge part of my life that I don't like talk about that much online just because it gets complicated and not PC is I'm like a very, very, very strong Christian. And so like huge part of living my life is just like striving to be the best that you could ever be and like treating people with the greatest, deepest compassion that you could ever have. And if you can do both of those things, like I think that you'll find a lot of self-satisfaction and happiness, and like it is just the best way to live.
Okay.
That's good. What kind of fitness activities do you most enjoy?
Honestly, I love being outside with the dogs. Like I will chase them.
Yes, people, that's fitness.
Yes, it is fitness. Like, cause you get down, throw a ball, like run after them. Like you move in weird ways. Like outside of strength training, like obviously strength training is always going to be number one, but like I really like getting outside and moving my body in in ways that you don't, because that's how you're going to realize, ooh, like I have an imbalance there. Ooh, like that hurt. Why? Maybe I need to strengthen that part of my body. It's like moving in weird ways is what like is going to help you in the long run in your training too.
That makes sense. All right. If you could give the listeners one piece of advice, what would it be?
I don't fucking know. This is like really difficult, like existential question. Just keep it simple. Like
keep it simple, stupid. That's a good one.
Yes. Yeah. Simple, stupid. Happiness is in keeping your life really simple and stop wanting what everyone else has, because probably most likely they actually don't have what they say they have.
That makes sense. No, that's a good piece of advice. Yeah. For sure.
Definitely.
All right. This is the last one. What do you believe your lifelong goal and purpose to be?
Gosh, existential
I'm trying to dig deep here.
Yeah. I mean, my lifelong goal would just be to help other people as best I can in any way possible. Like, outside of fitness, financially, emotionally, like whatever people need, like I'm here to serve. And like my purpose is like to be not a good person, but it's just to, again, like grow as a person. And so the only way to do that is to help others and just to be like laying my life down for other people, helping them as much as possible. And just, I don't know, being the friend that they probably never had, or being like there for people. I don't know.
We have very similar goals. I like that answer. No, that's for sure like something that I think about a lot. And at the start of my like nutrition coaching certification like course, like one of the first modules, Jason Phillips was like talking about like writing your why down and stuff like that. And I wrote like a whole page, and like I just like realized I was like fuck, because I've never done that before, and I was like, geez, like I'm awesome. Not playing, but like like people should love me. Not playing, but like that's definitely like something that I feel like everyone should take into account is like just help others and like
be selfless.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because that's where you feel very fulfilled, is having less of yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming on today. This was great.
Yeah.
Yay. Like anytime. I love you guys a lot. Like, in anything you ever need. And two, like, I'm going to promote. So like post all about it, and I'll share all day long.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that was definitely awesome. Where can people find you?
Yeah, Instagram at calorie deficit _ YouTube, Calorie Deficit University, podcast, Calorie Deficit University. All day long, calorie deficit. That's it.
Yep. That's all you need to lose weight, guys.
Right?
They don't know. Know. It's not keto. Keto's not the way.
No, never.
All right. Well, thank you so much once again. And I'm sure I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, just message me, and have a great day, guys.
All right. You too.
You too.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye now. That was awesome.
That was a good one. Yeah.
I like having guests on. That's for sure.
Yeah, actually, yeah. It saves a lot of time, too.
Dude, we're still recording. Dude just took his headphones off and stuff. He's like, I
thought we were done.
No, yeah, a lot of the stuff that she talked about was crazy. Yeah, and I relate to her like so much with like almost everything that she talked about. I was like, Jesus.
I like the fact what she said about like with helping people. I think that was like a really big thing too, because it's like
to wrap it in at the end.
Yeah, it's not even, and that's not even just like what she like what's her passion of like with fitness. It's just in life in general. You know what I mean? Like she likes helping people, so that's definitely a good way to live and stuff.
Yeah, it was really great.
Definitely, yeah. I learned a lot of stuff too. That honestly, like
I saw you writing down some stuff. I was like, Cubes is learning.
Yeah.
The only things that I was writing down was just like like she was like going on like on a like answering one of the questions or whatever, and I like wanted to touch back on the stuff. Yeah. What was like one of your biggest takeaways besides the thing? Do you know? Like what was something you learned, because you said you learned.
Or about the Bogan was like pretty interesting with like that, and then like the small goals, like how don't make a big giant goal. Yeah. Because if you do, then it's like then you can maybe fail, but it's like if you make small goals, just you're gonna feel a lot better because you'll be able to achieve them. And if they're like you can that's like drinking more water than you do, it's like that's a goal right there, and so it's like little easy goals to lead up to the big goal.
Yeah, and that's something that is like highly preached in Rise 45. The program that Daniel Hooper and Peeps at FNX are running. Currently, they're running the Monster Mentality, which is the third rendition of it. Talked about it last podcast, but that's like a lot of the stuff that they preach is like stop being like so like crazy and like trying to achieve like these crazy goals. It's like, all right, like work out for 20 minutes every day for 45 days, like 20 minutes, like go for a walk. Like, it doesn't matter. It's like as opposed to like 75 hard being like super like hard, like it's in the name, like it's gonna be fucking hard, and people like think, oh, 75 hard, like it's cool, like fitness trend. It's like no, it's fucking like mental, like it's fucking hard, like it really is. And I'm saying that from someone who fucking did it, and it took them 3 tries to like do it. So but yeah, that was awesome.
And definitely how she preached about like nutrition, like how big that is. Like it's, and not a lot of people really think of how like serious it, you know what I mean? Like nutrition is like your whole thing. You know, you gotta have a good nutrition to be able to, you know. So
yeah, it's way more important than just training.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was another episode of the Fitness Over Everything podcast. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Apologies that we're not in video. Unfortunately, we have to get like a new like program type of thing and pay monthly payments on it in order to record the screen, because we did that over Zoom. For those of you guys wondering, we hopped on the call with Lex and recorded it that way through my laptop. So in the future, when we bring guests on, we're going to figure out how to like record the screen and stuff like that. That way you guys can see us again. But other than that, this isn't like the new version of our podcast. Like we will still have like just me and Cubes with video. But we do plan on intend on bringing a lot more guests on, like Lex, and it's kind of awesome because that's history right there, guys.
Honestly, yeah, and it's cool seeing
it's our first guest.
Cool seeing too, like, you know, having a girl on too, like that was cool too, like seeing what their side of fitness is and stuff.
Yeah,
you know? So
yeah.
it's like,
I mean, yeah, as opposed to like us, like just being two guys, two dudes talking about testosterone through the roof. No, it's a good balance for sure. Definitely, and she's very knowledgeable, young
really
lady,
reliable,
and
such a good person.
Yeah, she's very kind. So thank you again, Lex, for coming on. And yeah, so. Where can people find you, Cubes?
On Instagram, acubes123, and on Snapchat, acubes123.
I think you're saying that wrong.
Why?
I don't even think your Instagram is acubes anymore. You changed it back to just Cubes.
My Instagram?
Yeah, it's at cubes123.
It might be
your Snapchat's acubes.
Yeah, my Twitter is acubes. Okay, yeah, so yeah.
Dang, you've been saying it wrong for like a couple episodes. Whatever.
They'll still be able to find me because that's.
Yeah, just look up Cubes and you're like the first one that pops up.
I'm pretty sure that I'm the only named Cubes other than the Ice Cube. So.
Yeah. He's like Ice Cube with the blue check, and then it's like Cubes. It's like, what the fuck? Who's this dude? Nah. And if you guys are looking for us on Instagram, we have an Instagram page that we intend on posting a lot more on and promoting the podcast on that platform at the FOEcast, TheFoEcast. And you guys can find me at the Trevor Violet on Instagram. That's TheTrevorVioletTTE. And you guys can find me on Twitter at Legendary. That is LEJEHNDARY. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you guys in the next episode.
Thank you.